Hello students, welcome to the English class. Students, we have already started with this new chapter on the face of it, written by Suzanne Hill. In my last video, I have already started with the line-wise explanation of the chapter and we have completed almost 2 pages, right? So today we will start from the third page, that is page number 58, okay? Students, in my last video, we have discussed that Mr. Lamb and Derry, they have started with their conversation. Derry entered the garden of Mr. Lamb by climbing over the wall, okay, and thereby Derry is very much apprehensive to to stay back into this garden. He wants to go back because he is afraid of Mr. Lamb, and moreover, he feels that Mr. Lamb is afraid of him. Derry is a person, a 14-year-old boy who wants to avoid the people, okay. He doesn't want to come in contact with people, okay, and therefore he thinks that maybe Mr. Lamb is also afraid of Derry, okay. And so Derry is the personification of, what did I say yesterday? Pessimism, right? And Mr. Lamb is the personification of optimism, and it is through the dialogue of Mr. Lamb and Derry that Mr. Lamb is going to turn Derry's viewpoint, the way he looks life into, okay. Let's continue. Mr. Lamb, no, not the whole of you, not of you. What does Mr. Lamb says? Because the last line that we have seen in my last video lecture was that Derry says that when I look into the mirror, he is also afraid of him. Okay, he is an ugly boy. So Mr. Lamb says the entire of you is not ugly, not of you means you are not entirely ugly. Derry says, yes, okay, of course. And then there is a pause. Mr. Lamb doesn't continue. Actually, Mr. Lamb has understood that what kind of boy Derry is, what is there inside him. Okay, that is, inside Derry is having this kind of a very pessimistic attitude towards life. Mr. Lamb had understood that. And as a result, Mr. Lamb doesn't want to ponder on this subject anymore. He wants to divert the attention of Derry towards the positive aspect of life, right? So Mr. Lamb, there is a pause, and then Mr. Lamb, instead of talking on that subject about Derry being looking ugly or what kind of mishap had happened to Derry, Mr. Lamb goes on continuing with another subject, another topic. Later on, when it is a bit cooler, I will get the ladder and a stick and pull down those crab apples. They are ripe for it. I make jelly. It's a good time of year, September. Look at them, orange and golden. That's magic fruit, I often say. But it's best picked and made into jelly. You could give me a hand. So Mr. Lamb says that later on, when it will become a little bit cooler, so Mr. Lamb thinks that he is going to make some jelly with the ripe crab apples, okay, because this was the time of September, and September is is the time when these apples become ripe and jelly also becomes very good. A very best quality jelly could be made. And so he tells Derry that why don't you come and help me out? Derry, what have you changed the subject for? People always do that. Why don't you ask me? Why do you do what they all do and pretend it isn't true and isn't there? In case I see you looking and mind and get upset, I'll tell you. You don't ask me because you're afraid to. So Derry is very angry that why Mr. Lamb had changed the subject. Okay, why he has diverted the topic from he is being looking ugly to the crab apples. Okay, so Mr. Derry is very angry and asks and demands the explanation from Mr. Lamb that why he changed the subject for. Okay, that is why Mr. Lamb is not interested in what Derry looks like or how Derry is, how much ugly Derry is. Okay, so why did he change the subject? Okay, why Mr. Lamb is also pretending like the other people in the society who always pretend that they are not afraid of Derry, but inwardly, they are very much scared of Derry and they want to avoid Derry because Derry have understood this only from the people outside. Okay, so he asks Mr. Lamb that why Mr. Lamb is behaving like those other people. So he also gives the conclusion that Mr. Lamb is also actually afraid of Derry. Mr. Lamb, you want me to ask? Say so then. So Mr. Lamb tells Derry to talk about it, okay? But Derry has already become upset. I don't like being with people, any people. So Mr. Lamb, Derry says that he doesn't like to be with people. Mr. Lamb, I should say, to look at it, I should say, you got burnt in a fire. So, because Mr. Lamb told, Derry told Mr. Lamb that why don't you talk on this topic? So, Mr. Lamb is again returning back to the topic. So, the old man says that it is possible that Derry's face got burnt in a fire. Okay, Derry says, not in a fire. I got acid all down that side of my face and it burned it all away. It ate my face up. It ate me up. And now it's like this and it won't ever be any different. So Derry tells him that it is the acid that has burnt his face. Okay, it says he says that it ate my face up. It ate me up. Okay, so means Derry says that half of his face acid was poured down, so thereby acid had completely burnt this face, okay, the half of the face, and says that the acid had eaten up my face and acid had eaten up me, okay, completely, because Derry is so disheartened. Derry is so heartbroken because of this incident that he feels that this acid has not only eaten up half of his face, but it has eaten up his fate also. Okay, it has eaten up his future also, his life also, and there is never going to be any different. Okay, it will be like this forever. Mr. Lamb, no. Derry says, aren't you interested? So Mr. Lamb says, no, it is not so. And Derry says that, are you not interested? Do you don't want to ask me more that how pain I got or all this kind of thing, the gruesome thing that he had gone through, okay? Because this is what Derry had always listened or had always faced the question from the people outside. Mr. Lamb, you are a boy who came into the garden. Plenty do. I'm interested in anybody, anything. There is nothing God made that doesn't interest me. Look over there, over beside the far wall. What can you see? Now, see, your students, from here on, I would like to tell, please mark this particular portion as very, very important. Okay, because from here in, what we are going to do is that we will divide the chapter into section wise, okay, like part 1, part 2, part 3, like this we are going to divide. And in this division, in each section, in each part, we are going to see, okay, we are going to see the various aspect that Mr. Lamb had given of looking into life, okay, and that how we should see the life, okay, or how we should view the life, right? This is number 1. Please mark it as number 1. Which part? This particular part, the rubbish part. If you want to think that which part, you can just underline this one, the rubbish weeds part. This is number 1. Now let's see what exactly Mr. Lamb had told here. Mr. Lamb said that Derry is a boy who had come into the garden, okay, and anyone is welcome into the garden because Mr. Lamb always keeps the gate of the garden open, okay. So Derry has entered the garden, he is welcome into the garden, he is a young boy. What is there to be more interested in this person, in this young fellow? Okay, according to Mr. Lamb, his face is not the matter. Okay, that he has come into the garden, he is visiting the garden, that's okay. What is more interesting in there? What more interest can one find from such a person? Okay, then he tells Derry that look at the far end of the garden and you will see at the corner, at one corner, there is something. You tell me what that is. He asks Derry. Derry looks at that far end of the garden and he finds that there are some rubbish, a heap of rubbish being piled over there. Okay, so Derry says rubbish. Mr. Lamb, rubbish. Look, boy, look, what do you see? Then Mr. Lamb says that you are saying that one is rubbish. Look carefully and say what that is. And Derry says, just grass and stuff, weeds. Okay, so Derry looks very carefully and says that, yes, there are some grasses all heaped together. Maybe there are some weeds all heaped together. Now, weeds, what are weeds? Weeds, you all know, these are unwanted, what we can say, unwanted plants, unwanted leaves or grass. Okay, in a garden, whenever you are, first of all, you write down leaves means unwanted grasses. Okay, that is weeds. Now you see here the exact meaning of weeds. When there is a garden, okay, a gardener, he wants to beautify the garden. What he will do? He will plant some flowers, beautiful flowers and beautiful bushes and decorative plants, okay? And if he finds any weeds in the garden, he will pluck the weeds and throw it out, okay? Because weeds has the characteristic of making the garden ugly. Okay, moreover, weeds, they encircle themselves into other plants and thereby make the garden very, very ugly. So gardener, in order to make the garden beautiful, he removes the weeds away from the garden. Okay. Now, what exactly Mr. Lamb wants to say here? Some call them weeds. If you like, then a weed garden that. There's fruit and there are flowers and trees and herbs, all sorts. But over there, weeds. I grow weeds there. Why is one green? This is a very interesting line. Why is one green growing plant called a weed and another flower? What's the difference? It's all life growing, same as you and me. Okay, this is very interesting and very important also. What exactly Mr. Lamb says is that if I say that one is a rubbish weed, then it is rubbish weed. That is my viewpoint. Okay, that I am seeing it as a rubbish, as a weed. But if I say, instead of saying it rubbish, if I say it as a weed garden, Mr. Lamb says that I grow weeds there. Okay, weeds are also life. If a beautiful flower plant is a green life, then weed is also a green life, because weed is also a green grass. A plant also has a green, like if I plant some bushes, beautiful decorative bushes, then those are also green grass, and weed is also green grass. Then why should one be called a beautiful grass and another be called as an unwanted grass? Okay, why should it be so? Why should we look life like this? Okay, that is what the Mr. Lamb wants to say here. What Mr. Lamb wants to say is that he asks there is that why one green plant is called a weed and another a flower. Okay, Mr. Lamb doesn't find any difference. To him, it's all life. Okay, his philosophy is to celebrate life in all its form, because in one life there will be some sad moment and there will be some happy moment, and in among the people also there will be some people who will be looking beautiful and some will look ugly. But appearance, look, these things are only on the face of it, like I have told in the title. Okay, these things are only on the face of it. What is important is inside the life is important. Okay, about weed, we have also discussed about weed in one of the poem. Do you remember, students, in which poem we have discussed about weed? Well, those who will remember, they know, but a few students might have forgotten. It's elementary school. Do you remember in that poem it was said like rootless weeds? Okay, those slum children are being told as rootless weeds. Okay, so why in there also Stephen Spender had given stress on the point that these children are also children. They should be also given the freedom. Similarly, life in every form is important. In every form it is beautiful, and we should accept that, right? Same as you and me. What's the difference? It's all life growing, same as you and me. Okay, like any normal people or any acid burnt people or any lame people or any deaf or blind people, what is the difference? Everyone has the same feeling, same emotion. When there is sadness, everyone cry. When there is happiness, everyone laugh, isn't it? Derry says, we are not the same. Mr. Lamb, I am old, you are young. You have got a burnt face, I have got a tin leg. Not important. You are standing there, I am sitting here. What's the difference? So when Derry says that you and me are not same, because Derry didn't know that Mr. Lamb had a lame leg. Okay, so Derry says that you and me are not same, and Mr. Lamb said that what is the difference? I am an old man, you are a young boy. You have a burnt face, I have only one leg. Okay, I'd have a teen leg. Okay, and says that you are standing and Mr. Lamb is sitting. Okay, so what is the difference? Okay, then Derry is asking, why have you got a teen leg? Okay, so why did he get so? And Mr. Lamb then gives the reason. Real one got blown off years back. Lammy lamb, some kids say. Haven't you heard them? You will. Lammy lamb, it feeds, doesn't trouble me. So Mr. Lamb says that many years ago, his leg was blown off, maybe in some kind of war. As I have told you in the background of the story in my first PPT video, I told you it was the Second World War which was highlighted. Okay, so maybe that is what Mr. Lamb is highlighting here. So in some war, his leg was blown off, and so he had to use the tin leg, and thereby some of the kids, they call him Lammy Lamb. And but Mr. Lamb is not much affected by this kind of names being called to him, because it's okay, it fits. Okay, it's very rhythmic also. Lammy Lamb, very rhythmic. But excuse me. But you can put on trousers and cover it up, and no one sees that, don't have to notice and stare. But Derry says that Mr. Lamb's leg can be covered up by trouser, whereas Derry cannot cover up his face. Mr. Lamb, some do, some don't. They get tired of it. In the end, there's plenty of other things to stare at. So Mr. Lamb says that some look at my leg, some doesn't look. Okay, because there are many other interesting things to see at. Okay, what is so much importance in my leg? Derry like my face. So when Mr. Lamb says that there are so many interesting things to see, so Derry says, yes, interesting thing like my face. And then Mr. Lamb says, like crab apples, or the weeds, or a spider climbing up a silken ladder, or my tall sunflower. So Mr. Lamb says that why should it be your face? Okay, interesting thing like beautiful things like sunflowers and bees and weeds and crab apples and spiders. So many things are there. Derry then says that these are all things, okay? These are all things, and Derry is actually experiencing the suffering, okay? He is suffering the pain. So, therefore, that doesn't compare with him. Mr. Lamb, it's all relative. It's all relative means it's all same. Beauty and the Beast. This line is again very important. So, from here in which part start? The second part. Okay, from here the second part starts, that what should we see and what should we not see. Okay, this is very important. First of all, in the first part, what we have done, how to look at life. Okay, second part, we are seeing what to see and what not to see. Okay, at the end of the line wise explanation, students, I am going to give you the part wise explanation also. I will provide you in your WhatsApp group or in your classroom also, that which part you have to give importance to, and what every part exactly deals with. Okay, so Mr. Lamb says it's like Beauty and the Beast. What's that supposed to mean? So Derry says, what is that meaning? Okay, Beauty and the Beast. And Mr. Lamb says that you tell me, means you explain it to me. And Derry says that you needn't think they haven't all told me that fairy story before. Well, students, from here what will happen? Here we will be concentrating on Beauty and the Beast. Now, before concentrating on this thing, I will keep my video lecture, means my line wise lecture, till here only. From tomorrow onwards I will start with Derry. Okay, you needn't think they haven't told all that me. Why I am stopping it over here is that before I start with the next line wise explanation, I want to give you a fair definition of Beauty and the Beast. Okay, so that way it will be very much clearer to you that how you have to means in what manner you will be seeing this part of the story. Okay, students, please go through this. Okay, and if you find any difficulties or any problem you are facing till this much explanation, then please clarify it from me. Okay, and wait for the next video where I will be explaining you about Beauty and the Beast, and that what is the importance of Beauty and the Beast in this part of the story. Thank you, students. Study well.